Now everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I got banished into somewhere naughty, so you're gonna hear a little bit of an echo here today on this video. Don't mind me, I'm gonna try to keep it short. I'm gonna talk about miners. It's been a couple of days. And we've got the two things that miners is supposed to be correlated to. I actually think miners are more or less correlated the most with IWM, which has really yet to close a week above the previous all-time high here. And if you look at IWM, which is the Russell 2000 index, it's basically small cap stocks, which is what miners are. And it's basically breaking through this arc here that has been serving as strong resistance for a very long time. And right now we're simply flipping that from resistance to support as we reach to the previous all-time high. Was not able to break through, came back down, was not able to find support here, 0.786, broke down underneath of that, back test the arc and bounced very, very nicely. And so far, if you zoom in, we are just only 3 days into the week, and so far it does look like we've got maybe a little bit of reclaiming on the 0.786 fib level here, which is a bullish development. If it is able to hold the 0.786, it is truly just coming back down, grab liquidity, touch the arc down here, and really flip this from resistance here to support, then I think the next logical level for it to go would be up here to this arc, and it can potentially even go higher this cycle. Now, the other thing is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also behaving okay. If you are also looking at the daily chart of Bitcoin, it's actually behaving more or less like you expect it to. I was showing this Bollinger Band. I really thought that once it really reclaimed the 20-day moving average and flipped it from negative sloping resistance here now to positive sloping is going to be support here, right? And I thought once it pushes through that, it's going to hit like 100,000. Sure enough, it did that exactly by the end of today. And so far, we're kind of just covering down a little bit. Is it possible it's just a consolidation zone before further bullish continuation? You do have a Bollinger Band expansion here. Or could it be coming back down to about the 96,000 range and back test the 20-day moving average? I don't think anybody really knows the answer to that question, with the exception that I think weekly it is behaving very, very nicely. I have a few Gann charts here. This is based on the log scale of 360 and 500. You can see how it basically just pushed right back into resistance, and so far we're having a hard time breaking through resistance because there's a resistance, right? If you're using another level here, this is another Gann square that I've drawn. This is based on 720 and 500. You'll see some pretty nice market symmetry here too, with the exception that yes, we are right back at resistance, but we also just came back and grabbed liquidity underneath the angle support over here, and it's still holding an angle relatively well. It's just stuck in a range. I think we're going to be towards the end of a decision point here pretty soon. I don't think we're going to end up consolidating sideways over here for another 6, 7, 8 months anymore. I think this is one of those moves that are very, very similar to this kind of move over here. There's a possibility where earlier in the week when we have the wick all the way down here to 89,000 could be very similar to this wick down here around 38,000. It doesn't necessarily have to go down any further, although it could, but this is the one of the liquidity grab candles, wicks down here. And we might be consolidating into this triangle here soon and then make a decision one way or another, because the primary trend is up. I think that once it breaks out, it's probably going to break up to the upside, is my best guess. Now, if you're also looking at another weekly, again, here I have 360 and 1,000. You see if you change these numbers a little bit, you can see still really, really good market symmetry, but you can see that this is already actually flipped the resistance of this arc here into support. It's basically backtesting this arc almost perfectly, right? And it looks like it's probably just needing to consolidate sideways over here, and it looks like it wants to push through and go up to the next arc, which is anywhere around 150, 160,000. If this turns out to be the case. If you also look at the monthly chart here, we have clearly been breaking through this arc here, back tested for about 7 months after it was resistance over here, just like we did over here. After its resistance came back, and then we through back test this for about 9 months or so, and then just went to the next arc level, right? So it's a potential for this cycle to at least hit the Horizontal Gann level here, which is close to about 200,000. Could it go higher? Certainly can. Could it go even higher than that? Maybe like 6, 7, stop it. 700,000, stop it. I don't, yeah. Anyway, just to kind of give you, capture some, imagination here, we did end up consulting here for a very long time. So that does bring up the possibility, hey, wait, maybe we'll continue to kind of go up higher here. The idea to look at these is to kind of how to correlate them in terms of what the Bitcoin miners are doing. I do want to say during the last cycle, the miners didn't really end up going up until maybe around November, December, whenever IWM really made the God candle, if you will, that has really pushed things through all-time high right there in one stroke, right? We had a November candle. It was God-like, but it really wasn't God because we had a December candle that really canceled out everything. So we didn't really have that push to kind of push up, right? Now, because of that, the miners have been significantly lagging, which is unfortunate. But let's look at the individual miners here, and we can just actually go through them real quick. Here, I got CleanSpark here. This is the one that I usually go to first because that's what had captured a lot of people's imagination in 2023, and that's what really had made a lot of people upset in 2024. All it really was doing is just consolidating sideways of this big giant move up, right? And as you can see, it's actually holding these Gann levels pretty well here. And as you can see, it is also, if I just turn up all these drawing here, and if I use a couple of things, I'm going to draw the 50, not the 50, I'm going to draw a 100 and put our support band right here. All you're really seeing right now is that things are squeezing between a rising 100-week moving average, which it bounced off of multiple times, and also a slightly downsloping to flat bull market support band. Kind of like how it was over here, like slightly negative sloping to flat bull market support band, right? It's just waiting for that to kind of flip maybe a little bit flatter. Maybe we get to a little bit more moment on vulnerability and then just kind of push through. I really see a lot of similarities between over here and over here, where it's just kind of hovering underneath the bar support band. It looks like it's building a lot of energy, trying to push through. And that's kind of exactly what I think it's doing. Once it does that, I think the move is going to be pretty powerful. But I'm gonna just leave it to your imagination. I'm not gonna talk too much more about that. But I do think that CleanSpark is a pretty decent chart here. Mara's looking basically the same thing. It's just hovering underneath the bar support band. Looks like it wants to kind of push back through over. And the issue with both of these, the issues particularly with CleanSpark, is that resistance, right? It's stuck in a range. It's stuck in between support and resistance. Whenever it's down support, people get a little bit bearish. And when it gets to go closer to resistance, people get a little bit of bullish, which is unfortunate. Same thing here for Mara. But I do think that both of these are going to do pretty well over time. If you look at Mara, I'm going to turn off the 100-week here. I'm going to get rid of all these like silly stuff. Initially, I was like, well, we're getting to the end of the line here. It's either going to go to Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus, or you can go down to $3 Mara, Vomiturium, and the other Uranus. I honestly think that because it's consolidated sideways for so long, and I think that we are going to end up getting some pretty decent support here in the 100-week moving average, because it's pretty important support resistance, right? Support, right? So I think this is probably going to end up pushing price up higher to the Moon, Mars, and maybe Jupiter. I don't know if it's going to go to Uranus, but we have to keep a close eye on it. It's a little bit premature to say. It's just this whole thing just been consolidating sideways. The question is either reaccumulation or distribution, or it's just been suppressed by shorts and it just really hasn't had a chance to get pushed up. I think there's a lot of correlation between the area over here versus the area over here. With the exception, this area over here is like about a year. The area over here is maybe like 3 or 4 months. Regardless, there's a lot of kind of correlate between these two areas that I still see. So I'm still going to kind of hang to that hypothesis that maybe a bigger move is going to come. Bitfarms. What's Bitfarms doing? Well, you're not going to find any moving average is going to get you what you like. It's stuck in a range between two arcs, and it's still stuck between these two arcs, right? I don't have anything else to say. It's just one of those laggards that's probably going to lag behind by, maybe a few weeks at least to a couple months behind other miners. It's basically doing the same thing here as it did during last cycle. It just looks absolutely terrible until maybe it doesn't. I'm just going to leave it as that, right? Cypher, nothing bearish about it, bouncing off the arc. Got rejected 0.76, bouncing off the arc. Is hopefully going to go back and challenge that here, form a higher low here already. Looking pretty decent. Iron looking the same. It is basically finding support to put on support band after it got rejected 0.786, after it got rejected the arc here. It's looking pretty decent. I don't have anything else bad to say about it. Woof, 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 what are you doing? It's also trying to find a higher low. And if you are also looking for a support band, it looks like it's trying to reclaim that right now. So there's really nothing bad to say about it. It's trying to break about the 0.618, got rejected, came back down, couldn't even touch the 0.5 yet. Maybe this is it, who knows? Higher high, higher low, who knows how low the higher low is going to be. But it's a bull trend here. BTBT, I think I like BTBT. I think it's hitting resistance though, right? Like a lot of these are like, CleanSpark, Mara, they're going back to resistance here to our support band. So maybe they're going to end up just kind of get rejected here a little bit in the short term, getting people even a little bit more unhappy. But yeah, there's the whole thesis of BTPT is still intact. It's still intact. I still think that this whole idea of this kind of like breakout and back test of this trend line here is probably still going to play out pretty well. I also think that the volume is also kind of playing out here, where the last leg up was on high volume, the last leg down was on lower volume, right? Declining volume. So I still think that BTPT's probably got one of the better risk reward ratio here. If I do a monthly chart here, you can see that it's reclaimed the kitchen down here. It's trying to reclaim the tank, and it's just working a little bit harder trying to reclaim that right now. But probably going to cloud next. They could double, triple here in a hurry. Maybe push through the cloud and go up higher. Who knows what this is going to do? This cycle is a lot of energy is being built up here. Core is a little bit underperforming this week here so far. Is there anything bad about cores? No, not really. It's still holding the arc here okay. No problem there. Bull market support band dipping a little bit underneath of it. It's gotten back above it though. It does look a little bit exhausted, but it doesn't look bad. It's still holding support just fine. Riot, one of the performers, I think is probably going to do pretty well in 2025, to be completely honest with you, because it's reclaiming bar support band. The bar support band is supporting way up. It's been stuck under this arc here for about a year and a half. I think whenever it breaks through the arc here, it looks like it wants to potentially do that, at least get the upper arc over here. Then it's really kind of lights out here. It's really trying its best. Why is it not pushing up higher? Well, it's because it's still kind of stuck underneath the weekly Ichimoku cloud here, right? You need to break through that. Got rejected here twice already. If you ever break through that, get to the top of the arc here, then lights out, right? But yeah, not yet. You got HUD 8. What's HUD 8 doing? Still trying to push to 0.618. Looks like it might be doing that right now, right? Backtesting arc over here, looking pretty decent. It's one of the more bullish look in terms of miners. Hive still doing nothing, just kind of oscillating sideways. I don't have anything meaningful to say about it. BitDeer. Oh dear. It's hard to really say where support is for BitDeer. It can go down a little bit further, previous all-time high here, and that would still be fine. But you're starting to have a little bit of a tweezer bottom look over here, and at this point I don't really have any important FIP level or GAN level, where it's just kind of hanging out in space over here. The question is it going to find support with these tank and kitchen after this big giant expansion up? Or is it going to have to kind of come back down and back test the previous all-time high? That's really what I have to say. Either way, it's going to be a higher low, and it's still going to be a pretty bullish chart. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to make it quick for you. 14-minute video talking about IWM, small cap index, Russell 2000, Bitcoin, and all these miners that you're interested in talking about. Anyway, take care. I find this to be a pretty decent setup, although a lot of them are starting to get back to the resistance. So don't be surprised if you end up getting a red day for tomorrow, even on Friday. I would not be surprised at all. But regardless, I still think that they are setting up to be pretty decent in 2025. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Have a good bye.